evening, Litchfield. This is the December 7th meeting of the Conservation Commission at 6:30 p.m. Calling to order. Jason Brennan, chairman, is out of town, so I will chair the meeting. Joan McKibben, vice chair. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call and appointment of alternates. Let me start from the other end. Fred?
Fred French, alternate.
Harry?
Harry Menzigian, member.
Diane Plansky, secretary.
Matt Hoffman, member.
Joan McKibben, vice chair.
George Lavash, alternate.
Okay, so we're missing tonight Michael Croto and Jason Brennan, so we can appoint, and Kevin Lynch is, we can't replace Kevin Lynch as selectman, so we can appoint Fred and George as full voting members tonight, if you accept. Accept?
Yeah.
Accept.
Okay, good. Is there any public input related to non-agenda items that are not on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move right along to new business. Jason has this listed as Morrill Street Extension subdivision. It'll actually be called now it's gonna be hard to say, Telrico Street. It was Morrill Street Extension, but the fire department doesn't want the Morrill Street name to cross over. So, are people here to represent Telrico Drive Street? And just state your name and where you're from, please.
Just gonna pass these out.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my name is Sam Cowell. I work for the Dubay Group. So I believe we're here to just talk about the two items on this project, the wetland impacts and the wetland buffer impacts, and then also the location of the pond and, well, specifically its location in the open space as opposed to being on a lot and being in an easement.
Okay, so why don't you go over the special exception area for the zoning board. So we have to comment on a special exception to the zoning board on the wetland impact and for the road crossing and the buffer impact. So go ahead.
Yeah, so as you can see on the exhibit that I just handed out, we have a total wetland impact of 4,197 square feet and a buffer impact of 22,749 square feet. And that's just associated with the road crossing. All lots, all lot grading has been graded to stay out of the buffer and wetlands. So the special exception is just for the crossing over the wetlands, specifically for the roadway. And the crossing, they have culverts under each one specifically designed to hydraulically hold back the water in specific storm events.
Have you been talking to Fish and Game yet about those culverts?
Yeah. So we've been working with Fish and Game, and they're basically okay with everything. They just want a couple notes on the plans. If you see this turtle or whatever, contact them. So yeah, we've been working with them.
Were they, do they want an open bottom culvert or not?
They're perfectly okay with the culverts that we have proposed.
And what's the material?
RCP.
Yeah, they say that with the open bottoms, they actually notice that foxes kind of sit at the entrances because they know that animals actually go underneath and cross. So they kind of learn that. So that's why Fish and Game is actually, they have been recommending recently not to do open bottoms because of that.
I've been emailing Melissa Winters at Fish and Game, and I first talked to Mike Marchand, but he got me over to Melissa. says, open bottom culverts, high density construction would allow more hydrological connectivity, reduce velocities, scouring, and would lessen degradation of the wetland surrounding uplands as it pertains to habitat quality. There are crossing designs options that could be implemented to discourage predators from using these areas. That should be considered depending on the length of the crossing. What is the length of these crossings, by the way?
The length of these crossings, they're each 40 feet.
40 feet?
Yep.
That's the two areas marked in green?
Yeah, so if you look at the
Yeah.
next sheet, it calls them out as, the first one's two 24-inch RCPs, 40 feet in length, and then the next one is two 40 feet long, 36-inch RCPs. They just have to be upsized because there's just a lot more water.
Yeah.
Who were you talking to at Fish and Game?
I believe Kevin, I forget his last name.
Well, we need some documentation on that
Yeah.
because, then she goes on to say, as Mike Marchand mentioned, I'm not aware that there's any conclusive evidence that predation rates are higher for natural open bottom culverts if they are designed properly. To the point Mike makes below, providing a more safe passage crossing option for rare wildlife is important, especially in high priority protection areas, as road mortality next to habitat loss is one of the largest contributors to species decline. So we need some documentation of who you're talking to and exactly what they're suggesting.
Okay.
Because,
There's a lot of different kinds of scat that are out there too, so you know you've got a lot of wildlife that's on that land.
that's what I was just gonna say. In your AOT report, she also mentioned, you're not supposed to put the map in all the specific locations. That needs to come out of there. So that's not for public, getting out to the public. I guess maybe a state wants to see it, and NHB, that's where you got it from, but that should not be in a public document.
Okay.
Cause I forwarded her the map, and that's how she said, well, this, it says right on the top that this shouldn't be for public. But there is a lot of sightings around that area. So which one's the two culverts, the big one?
So they each have two culverts side by side. The first crossing is 24 inches, and the one towards the left is 36 inches.
And both 40 feet?
Yep.
40 feet. Yeah, would worry about what kind of riprap too is, and head walls are on those. So I'd really like to see what Fish and Game has to say on those.
Okay, yeah, we're showing head walls on the plans right now, and I can contact Fish and Game and see how they feel about adding riprap to the inlet outlet of those crossings, if that's something that they'd like to see.
Well, probably not, because big riprap's not gonna be good. But yeah, I'd like to know what they have to say about
Yeah.
head walls also.
Yep.
It's not a steep area there, so,
Mhm.
is this the amount of fill, the 3,000 and the 1,000, or is that just, that's
That's just
Impact.
that's the impact.
okay? So I didn't look at the road profiles real close. Anybody else have, no, this, we have to comment to the zoning board of adjustment, so,
So should we hold on until we get that information from Fish and Game?
yeah, I think we should. They're meeting, you go December 15th or 18th to the ZBA? Third Monday.
You have that?
I have.
Yeah, 18th, yeah. Yeah, we have that with the ZBA.
Okay. So we'll have to make some kind of comment, but, we're waiting for more information.
Yeah, we-
Anybody have?
I've got a question for the second crossing, the one that's, I guess, on the left, on the 236.
Yeah.
You're gonna take off the side of that hill, so are you raising the roadway there? How much higher? So I know it's probably on your, in your elevation map, but I guess that's what, 1,700 for pre-unit. So, what's the change in the height there?
Yeah, so at about 1,700, we're at elevation 184, and existing grade is about 178 or so.
So it's coming up 6 feet.
Yeah, so we're coming up.
And how about at 1,600, just so I,
And those are station numbers for
yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
George, are you on the third page?
Actually, no, I'm on the,
Second,
um,
second.
I'm on
Oh, I
the
see,
second
I
page.
see.
Yeah,
Yep, I see.
You're wondering about 1,600 as well,
yeah,
that area? So yeah, between the two wetlands, there is kind of like a hill there, so that area is cut down just because it is such a great, it just sticks out so much, so that comes down, but everything else is raised up above to let the
Here's 16.
culverts pass up underneath.
okay, so you're gonna take out a portion of that hill,
Yeah,
and then it's gonna go flat.
So the 16, it's hard to see but the station numbers, the 1,600 is just to the right, go on the second page, to the right of where it says 3,000 square foot wetland impact. In the roadway, it says 1,600, and then the 1,700 would be further along.
So the 1,600
Thank you.
is
That's what I
right,
thought, right?
is right.
Can you see better on this one?
No, okay, it should be on this one.
This one?
No, okay, well, here's,
Got it?
here's, it should,
It's
should
hard
be,
to see.
yeah, it's, yeah, it should be right in there.
Okay. Thank you. Which is this, right? All this grading.
I have a question. When you, on these lots, like 6, 7, and lots 11 and 12, when you issue the deeds, is that going to include the setback in what we see here in the map?
What do you mean?
What setback are you referring to?
Okay, if you go to the
The
front
dotted line?
page,
The wetland setback?
and
The
you look
dotted
at
line?
lot 7 and you look at lot 6,
Yeah.
if you follow the lines, they actually go into that pond.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those setback lines are just the wetland setback lines for disturbance, so we've held that. We're not disturbing any wetland buffers besides the crossings.
The
The
setback,
dotted
the
line.
setback line wouldn't be in the deed, Larry, but we should have, I did bring these, decals that we would want on those back, setback lines,
Yeah.
so that the homeowner knows
Yep.
not to disturb that area.
We discussed with Reggie when we were out there for the site walk as well, access for the neighborhood to get into the wetlands.
Or the open space, right?
To the
Yeah,
open
to get
space.
into the open space.
Yep, to get into the open
If
space.
you come in from 3A, you need waivers, so that's not a viable option.
Well, he had basically said that he would put something,
Yeah, we'll see, because I know there are existing trails in some areas, and we said we'll see what we can do in regards to keeping the trails as long as, they're not in the lots or the roadway.
yeah, because it's not accessible open land if we can't get to it.
Yeah.
It's not what the purpose of the land is for if we can't get to it as the citizens.
Yeah, in the
can't
back
get to it.
section, there is an easement between,
The drainage easement.
Yeah, between lots 16 and
Yeah,
17, there's an
yeah.
easement to get to that drainage
And
That
pond.
open
tell you go
space.
request drainage easements on people's lots is not a good thing to be doing.
Yeah, you had some comments on that, right, Jane?
We need it dedicated.
Dedicated?
So I think what we're saying is in order to get to the open space, you sort of need a right of ways, kind of like the right of ways that you have going over towards Charlotte property.
Yeah.
On the end of the
Not
cul-de-sac.
that wide, not 50 feet, but,
Right, but some type of right of way.
Because other than that, it really is useless.
well, it's not, it's good habitat, it's not.
It's good
useless.
habitat, but we can't get to it to even check on the habitat.
Right, and so there is a statute 575.7-G that says adequate permanent public access to designated open space may be required at locations approved by the planning board. So we're not the planning board. I think you can't just have open space that nobody can get to. So right now.
We just don't know how. I know we mentioned it then, and Reggie had said he had no problem with it. He wanted to do it as well, because it fulfills the spirit
yeah, oh yeah.
of the situation. I just don't know where it's gonna be, and I'm kinda hoping that we can see that.
So one potential place that we could do that is lot 14, which is at the end of the cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
is a rather large lot, so that connecting right-of-way that we have between 14 and 13,
Yep,
that abutting line that goes horizontal to that property, we could have a section of that that just goes to the left into the open space.
okay, thank you.
The other proposed open space, let's see, where the heck is that? Yeah, next to lot 21. Now, is that gonna be available to get to that lot without going through
Well, that
somebody's
has all
property?
that road frontage there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Joan said, there is frontage along that whole open space,
Mhm.
so anyone can just come off the road and access that.
There is one of these subdivisions that was done with a large amount of land back in Londonderry, and they did put some rocks up so that people couldn't necessarily drive back there.
Yeah.
There was a small place for parking as well.
Mhm.
That you may wanna think about that. I know it's just another thing to do on a big subdivision. You guys already have your hands full of other stuff, but it would actually, it would be a nice.
But the dead end cul-de-sac, I mean, you can park in this cul-de-sac, it's the town right away, so you'd have to make more
But if we had an area, then it
impervious
would
area.
be.
So is it the open space, just the areas down here?
No,
It's not up
no,
here,
it
right?
goes all the way to, not up there, it goes to 3A though. Goes this
Goes
way.
down to 3A, yeah. The only problem with the open space, having access to the open space up top is that's basically a cliff off to get down to the
Right.
open space.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
Hudson like
well,
that.
Big drop off.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's where the
there are
drop off
trails
is.
there,
Mm.
and it's actually a little bit of ways from that.
Could go to the left, but it would be, might be on that lot 14.
I don't know if you can.
Yeah, I think the way that the lots are proposed though, it's right up to the edge of that drop off.
The lot is right, but he said that he would put an access along this whole, so he's saying that, well, this, okay, he's saying.
I got the
It would be access,
yield.
along here.
Mm-hmm.
In
Oh,
order to
over there.
get to this space, and the cliff is actually here, so, you'd be walking along here, right, I think that's what you said.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, on this side.
And this is the old plan, that the right of way is actually here, not here.
Thank you, George.
Yeah, just go this way.
So you see what I'm saying about the hill is at the very end?
Yep.
Yeah, I was guess was good.
Yeah, we went
We
up
have
and-
this
So
is
he's
the
saying
yield plan and the
access
bottom
is
one's the
here,
build plan.
here,
No, no,
here.
so he's saying the access would be
Up there.
along this
Right,
border,
right,
and it would go to the right of way.
right. Not this one, okay.
Right.
Now, on open space, just to refresh my memory, that's part of the responsibility of the, when you build up the lots and stuff, right?
Mhm. Nick, do you know if there's gonna be a homeowners association with this?
It honestly depends on how the town wants to do that,
Well,
because,
We talked about that out there.
Yeah.
And Reggie.
because if you guys don't wanna own it,
Well-
then we
Well,
would,
Reggie wasn't real thrilled with the homeowners association, and then who's gonna maintain the drainage structure? So, probably would be better for the, my feeling is to have the town own it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
so if the town owns it, then we wouldn't have a homeowners
Because
association.
after time, and
It,
hands change, then it gets lost.
Homeowners are.
yeah,
Nobody's maintaining the drainage. So on lots 5, 6, 7, and 8, definitely would need these decals out the back.
mhm.
Yep.
How many would need on that one, on the 50-foot line. On lot 9, I understand that's a different situation, may not be built on, is that correct, lot 9?
Yeah, we're probably gonna take a lot of that, material out for the roadway.
On lot 9?
Yeah, cause that's all the hill. That's that big hill there, so we have to take some of it out anyways in order to, put in that roadway. So,
Well,
but I
Dan,
don't
I'm
think
not talking
we're,
about the roadway, I'm just talking about the lot.
yeah, I don't think we're gonna be planning, I don't think we're gonna be building anything, but I think we'll take some of the.
Really?
But is that
At
what
this,
the-
at this time,
Yeah, cause you
Yeah.
had somebody that already wanted that, right?
yeah, that's why kind of we're holding it for that person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not, never build,
No, not never built, yeah, correct.
but you are gonna, probably won't be what we're looking at right now. Would be a little different
He's just
looking
gonna
lot.
sit on it.
Yeah, he's just gonna,
He's investing in it for his future children.
Oh, nice.
So you're taking some of the hill off there, though, so how's that gonna affect that wetland that's right there, that I keep calling a vernal pool, but your certified wetland scientist says it's not a vernal pool?
well, no, so this, it has to be cut out anyways for the roadway.
Well, it's down here, yeah.
Correct,
not
that's
in the
what,
middle of the
that's what
lot.
I'm referring to.
Oh, just on the
Yeah,
road.
I'm not referring to
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah, all the way up here.
Oh, okay, that's what I
No,
was worried
I'm
about,
just
okay.
referring to this, the roadway area.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the drainage area. I talked to Reggie this morning about it, and he didn't get too far. Page 3. So, what is this? I tried to measure it with a ruler, and it kind of wouldn't fit on lot 14 well. But right now, it's in open space.
Yep.
Ordinance says it shouldn't be in open space. So Reggie's saying, well, we can make it part of the road, and I'm saying, well, that's not solving the problem.
Yeah, so, I talked to Reggie, I think after you talked to him.
Problem.
He had mentioned that it could be included in one of these lots, for example, 15, 16, or 17, could encompass that entire pond, and then that could just be an easement on that lot. If
On
that's
15, 16, and 17,
Either one.
probably just one of them,
just one?
to make it, just a little bit cleaner. And then you just have one easement for one owner, if that's something.
This
that you-
this whole structure could fit on one of these,
They could just,
Well, we would just make the lot of them, it would just be bigger.
they were just a lot line.
or put it on, okay. Yes, we were talking, I talked to Luke Herron about it, he said, yeah, could make. Now, if this easement's, this great big thing is on somebody's lot,
Mhm.
and the town's maintaining it,
Still gonna be an easement even though it's on someone's lot.
I know,
Yeah.
but would you want this great big thing in your backyard?
No,
Well, so that's why we put it in the open space, to just eliminate confusion of, hey, this is my property, but there's an easement. So, as it's proposed, it's not on anyone's property, so they don't have the right to claim it, even though they couldn't claim it.
Right, you can't claim,
Yeah.
right. That would be definitely in the deed.
Mhm.
What about, he wouldn't wanna put it on 14, because then it would cause more pipe to go down to 14?
Move the pond to 14?
Yeah,
It just, hydraulically, it kind of has to be where it is, because of the roadway and the existing topography on the site.
okay.
It's the low point, so all your, all your drains go to that point and then it goes down.
so it's gonna stay exactly where it is, but you're just gonna
Yeah, well-
extend out
No, they could
16
move it
and
onto a
15.
lot.
Well, no, they're not gonna move it.
They said they could
Well,
move it
it
onto a lot.
wouldn't be moved, the lot lines.
They would move the lot
lot
lines,
would
so
be-
they would, the lot lines would come down like this then,
They
John.
could just draw a lot.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
you would
you
leave the
just
structure where it
Yeah,
is and move the lot
Yeah,
lines?
so
You
the
just
structure basically
Structure's
has
not
to-
moving.
has to remain where it is.
That's not what you had in mind. though,
That's
is it,
not what I
Joan?
had in mind, no.
No, that's not what Joan had in mind.
I'll talk to Luke Herron about it again. We went out there and looked at it again, because we didn't look at it on the sidewalk. We went out the other day and looked at it again, and it's really gonna nuke that whole area, put this in there. But you're saying that's, I mean, why couldn't it, I thought you were saying move it up onto these lots, but you're saying move the lot lines back to encompass it.
Yeah. I mean, all things considered, this is a rather large subdivision, so to only have this one pond on site, we did try to minimize impacts as much as we could.
You could go the old way to open drainage, get rid of this pipes and just drain off the side of the roads like my subdivision.
However,
So I have a question for you. So on this pond, down near the bottom left-hand of the screen, there's like a little triangle of a wetlands area, which is actually touching the 50-foot buffer, so I think.
Way at the bottom of the page.
The very bottom, if you see that little triangle,
Yeah.
so that's actually a hole that is wetland, so I think your 50-foot buffer is wrong in that location.
So I believe they're disconnected because the wetland scientists saw that they were disconnected. There was a little finger of wetland right in between. So I think, I don't know your ordinance like the back of my hand, but
Sure.
I think there's a certain threshold of wetland size that,
2,000 square feet.
yeah,
Okay.
that would invoke a setback.
Perfect. Okay.
All right, well, I just wanna talk to Lou Karen about that whole thing and see where that goes. I think I'm on the losing end of this. When, test pit data gonna get on the plans?
Yeah, so we do have the test pits on,
No, I want the data from the test pits.
Data, not data, data.
so specifically the one by the pond.
No, specifically all of them. On regular subdivision plans, we get, and it's on the checklist.
Okay.
We get
Yeah,
the.
we can add that.
Yeah.
There's a lot, but we can add those.
Yeah, we talked with Doug, just put it on one page and then just
Yeah.
let
Yeah.
all the.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll just,
chart or
we'll
something.
include it in the plan set, yep.
Good. And then there's a lot of silt fence going on around lot 9 and, yeah. You can see it on the bigger plan. Lot 9, and I think all around the 6, 7, 8. That silt fence and the silt, the other thing is the silt, whatever they're called, silt bags. Those need to come out as soon as the vegetation gets established, and they need to come out of there. Okay, anybody else got questions, issues?
So is this gonna delay them until we have our meeting next month?
They're going to the planning board the 19th, ZBA the 18th. We need answers from Fish and Game.
Okay.
So that doesn't need, we don't need to be in a meeting for that information to
Well,
be
yeah, well-
discussed? So that would be our first
Well, we
meeting
need
in
to write to
January?
We write to the ZBA and say, we're waiting for more information from Fish
Don't
and
wanna
Game.
hold you guys up, but we wanna make sure that we get the information.
Okay, yeah, we can get.
Do we have any issues with the crossings? That's really what the zoning board wants to know. Well, except for what type of culverts they're using, but as far as the impact area, is there any issues, are there any issues there? The 1,100 feet on the first, square feet on the first one, and then 3,000 square feet on the second one. And then what was 22,000 on the buffer? Something like that,
19,
buffer impact is
20,
yellow.
did you say 22?
I
Did you say
can't-
total?
Almost
Yeah,
23.
so the total's on the top left of that first.
Oh,
Oh,
first.
22,749,
Yeah, okay,
yep, okay.
So that's what we need to answer to the ZBA. And then we can, let me know if there are issues with that. If there aren't, then we can tell the ZBA that, but that we're still waiting for input from Fish and Game, and then we should also put the decals go in that letter also.
And which lots did you say, those letters?
5, 6, 7, 8. And actually 10, 11, 12.
Can you just hold that up again?
What?
Can you just hold that up again?
This?
Yeah. Are they gonna be that size or are they gonna be bigger?
No, this is what they are. There's two stuck together.
Okay.
How often are those spaced?
Well, we don't want them, they don't have to need to be obnoxious, but they do need to be visible to the homeowner.
Okay.
Should be a line of sight between them.
Yeah.
So you can-
Yeah. I think we did that around every 50 feet or something like that.
Yeah.
Some kind of permanent stake, I think is a part. I have a stack of these that I can sell you.
I think we still have some.
Such a
we
Yankee.
still have a little.
I've got a quick question. When you take the material out of the hill,
Yeah.
you're gonna leave some sort of edge or banking or
Yeah, so, it's just gonna be the roadway and then it's gonna have the shoulder and then it's just gonna go a 3-to-1 slope.
All right, what have you got plans for erosion? Because it's obviously, looking at the map,
It's gonna be graded accordingly.
Oh, yeah, well, any
So
of the ones that
it'll-
have the
it'll
impacts
prevent
would be
the
over
erosion.
here.
It'll all be stabilized with silt fences and,
We'd have to be here.
okay.
Joan, would you need those on 10, 11, and 12 as
Yeah,
well?
I wrote that down, 10 to 12, 10, 11, and 12.
Okay.
Actually, we need 21.
And 21?
And, 21, where's 21? Yeah, 21. And then if lot 9 is developed.
Probably not
if
5.
It's not developed.
It's still there, so.
Yeah. Okay.
I did ask Reggie, I think it was on the sidewalk, and I don't think it's possible, lots 6, 7, and 8 to pull the lot lines out of the wetlands, but it doesn't look like it's gonna work.
yeah, unfortunately, they have to be a certain size and,
Right,
yeah.
can't go less than half an acre.
Yep.
How big is lot 8? I should
Um,
have the big plan.
7 and 8 was like the same size. 6, 6 and 7 are like the same size.
Lot 8 is just under 40,000 square feet.
How many?
40,000.
Just under 40, it's 39,866.
Okay. So, does anybody want to make a motion for this letter to the ZBA, or are there more questions?
Joan, can you make the motion so that I can second it, so that we get everything in it for the minutes?
Okay. First of all, are there any more questions right now? No? Okay. I'll
Any
make-
public input?
Oh.
I'm sorry, yeah, public input, sorry. And your name and address?
Tom Sisson, 14 Pearson Street,
Thank you.
one of the abutters.
Thank you.
So one question I had was the road drainage and runoff mitigation, especially during winter. I'm right by a culvert as well that gets they get the sand and salt turned on and off, like, is this part of that, or is that something, is that?
Say the question again, please?
So worried about.
So like water runoff in general, but especially during the winter when there's
Well,
salt and
it's
sand.
closed drainage, this is closed drainage.
Where is 14 in relationship to this?
On the
Right.
backside of,
Right up to 28?
23 and 22,
yeah, behind 23 and
Oh.
22.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's all closed drainage, right, so you're
So,
not gonna
so
get.
this-
his comment is, we have a no salt,
No salt zone, yeah.
sign zone,
Oh, okay,
around the stream on Pearson Street.
okay,
And so,
that's a good point.
he's interested about, you know,
So it is closed drainage the whole way, the whole roadway is?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, and,
That's what that
So
is.
it'll just be regular runoff onto out into the wildlife or like,
That's what this is.
okay.
It
I
should
don't
be- I
have,
wonder if
I have
that's.
Do
some
you have an
plans,
extra
but-
one of these?
That's all right,
No,
yeah,
it's okay.
Should be a no salt area though by those stream crossings.
thank you.
is that a town highway department thing?
No.
Low salt in that area.
Or-
Next to one on it. Yeah, I guess that's up to the town, because since you guys will own the road, I guess that's up to you guys on what you guys wanna
Planning
do.
board have to talk to the road agent, okay.
Is that satisfied?
Yep.
Okay.
The other question I had was just in regards to back to the retention pond, does there need to be some public access in case there's maintenance that needs to be done in the
They'll
future?
have to be, the town will have to be able to get, they have a 20-foot.
Yeah, if you
right-
look on the plan,
right
there's a
now.
drainage easement in between two lots,
Okay.
in the setbacks of two lots, so you.
Which one?
16 and 17.
16 and 17.
Yeah,
16,
16 and 17.
yeah, 16, 17.
I don't
Does
see
the town
that.
have to maintain that?
It's on the third page. If you look real closely, it shows drainage easement right behind the pond.
Oh, okay.
It just runs along the property line.
'Cause
that's where the-
So it's all just one line, the pipe, property line.
So like,
and
don't
easement.
don't take big steps like this.
Yeah. It's a 20-foot easement, so you can take big
A
enough
reasonable-
step, yeah.
Reasonable size, okay. So that, even if you go back here with, and make these bigger,
Then
we'll
we're
still
getting
have
less open
access to the
space.
whole thing. Hmm?
Then we're getting less open space.
We are
The
getting
ordinance
less open
doesn't say
space.
how much open space you should get, you have to fix that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I think they quoted somewhere,
But we're making a change to, well,
Well, we're not making a change yet.
there, yeah.
so.
Where does it say that? What the open
Well,
space is?
on one of the plans, they had a list of, how much open space they had. So, they've got, total open space is, 100,276, yeah, million square feet. I don't know how many acres that is, it's like 50 acres.
Doesn't say how much wet though.
It does, so there's a total of 519,480 wet.
519,
519,480 is wet. The total open space is 1276120. So 41% of the open space is wetlands. And so you can, it was on the PDF, so they have a breakdown of wet and dry on there. So I did raise a question, I don't know if it's, in town, if you do a normal subdivision, and you have open space, not more than 25% of the open space can be wetlands. This is a conservation open space development, I don't know if those rules hold true. So, that's a question I have, whether or not we need 25%, wetlands cannot exceed 25% in the open space. I don't know if there are different rules.
Well, Jay and Lou are looking at at everything, so they would deem if that was accurate or not, and that we can discuss, during the planning board, yeah. But I know that they're taking a look at all the plans and making sure everything's according to your ordinances and everything like that, so.
Yeah.
hopefully.
But-
I just know that.
We're trying to keep it to wetlands, but we're also conservation.
Oh, no, of
And this
course.
has so much conservation impact
course, yeah.
that we have more questions than we normally
Yeah.
would because of that amount.
Nope, completely understand.
And more opinions.
Yeah, that's okay.
If you want opinions, just come to us. We'll get
We've
you.
got them, we've got them.
The last
Yes.
question I have was just on the footbridges, are those the existing footbridges that are in there?
Yeah, they're existing.
Okay.
We're not touching anything in those areas.
Okay.
We try to touch as little as possible.
Like
I'll
that.
make a comment. I'm trying not to.
That girl.
So I found the number, so it's almost 4 acres of open space in the small one, okay, it's like 3.9. This is from their map here. And then, the bigger open space, which is everything off to the left, that's 25.4 acres of open space.
Okay, that's good.
That's pretty good.
And there's a page like 7 and 8 on there.
Just want to be able to get there.
Mhm.
Yeah, if we get there, that'd be good.
And
Yeah,
then
and
when
we
you
can,
find
we can add that.
that rare turtle,
Thank
just call me.
Yeah, so, and it is on your plan, this information already.
No, the easement to the access way
access.
on lot 14, we can
That would
add
be
that.
great.
Probably.
So then the only holdups that we have is the location of the drainage and the
Culverts,
culverts.
kind of culverts,
And we'll try to get all that those answers from Fish and Game before the
118.
zoning and planning board meetings.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, so I'll make a motion that we send a letter to the ZBA that they don't have an issue with the road crossings. We do want decals on lots 5 through 8, 10 through 12, and lot 21, the protected wetland buffer decals. We're waiting for input from New Hampshire Fish and Game on the culverts. And what else? The
We'll notify them once we get that.
Well, I'm trying to think how we can let the ZBA know.
And how we're
We
all
don't have to
gonna,
write the letter till like the 18th, so hopefully, as soon as we hear from them. Anything else? So that's the decals, the culverts, waiting on the fishing game for the culverts, and we feel that's the least impact with the road crossings.
any more discussion on that or additions?
Need a second?
Well, before we do the discussion, I second
No, we need a
it.
second. Did you second?
I just
Okay.
did.
Okay. So, any discussion on the motion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor of sending this, ZBA this letter, say aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3,
Oh,
4, 5, 6.
opposed? Opposed.
It's gonna get there.
Oh, wow, I'm surprised.
5 to 1? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1.
Do you wanna
Which
add
one was-
discussion?
No,
Okay.
You wanna tell us, well, tell me why you're opposed, I wanna know.
pardon?
Why are you opposed?
Why are you opposed?
We care.
Well, first of all, we got a set of plans in the walkthrough that, as far as I'm concerned, and this is just me, there's no square footage on here, and the road has got 2 or 3 different directions. That's the original one that we did the walkthrough. I don't know, is this the final plan?
The one I handed out?
It's the same plan.
No, it isn't.
It's not?
No.
Oh, that was the difference of Charbonneau, that was this difference, that was Charbonneau's request. He's talking about the
Yeah,
cul-de-sac at the end,
Cul-de-sac getting
Yeah.
moved
at the
Yeah.
end.
That's
The
just to
only
show
difference.
the plans that you originally saw and then the realignment and
Yeah.
the comparison
Right
between.
away.
To me, the map doesn't have a lot of information on it. Square footage is missing, direction north is missing.
Well, that, it's, well,
Um, I'm
Should've
just
run a
not
big
happy
plan.
with the map. I just think it's incomplete. That's my opinion.
Okay,
okay, good, so I just wanted to know.
thank you.
So, all right, moving right along, anything else? So I'll be hearing from somebody,
Yeah, we'll let you know, as,
and
See
the
how
test
long-
pit data, I want the test
Yeah,
pit
yeah,
data.
I'll get it on there
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow, love it, love it.
Well, just send me that one sheet, hopefully we'll hear from Jay, well, the 19th, we'll hopefully hear something before the 19th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I hope so.
Thanks very much for the
Yeah.
walkthrough, it was really informative, it was really good, we had a lot of people on it.
Mhm.
I still think everybody got to hear what was happening, did you go through the walkthrough?
Oh, yes,
Yeah, and did you think that it was pretty complete, the walkthrough?
for the most part, yeah.
Yeah,
I think we kind of made it complete.
yeah,
Jason, George and I walked off separately afterwards, but
yeah,
yeah, just to check out, yeah, where the detention pond was gonna be and all that, so. Yeah, no, it was good, it was a nice day too.
yeah, well, thanks very much, though.
Yeah, no.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. All right. Jason has on here the fishing derby 2024.
I vote no.
That's fine.
Kidding, I'm just kidding. I love the
Okay,
fishing derby.
as far as the fishing derby, I'm gonna pick, I believe it's 5/18.
May 18.
Okay, but this year, what I have, I'm gonna have to request some additional help above and beyond what we had last year, because my family dynamics have changed somewhat, and I don't have the total time that I could spend like I could last year.
Okay.
And I think what we should do is, next year, in '25, look for a new person to run the fishing derby, okay? I'll volunteer in '25, but I can't be running the fishing derby
In
again.
26.
Well, why don't you get like George, myself, and Fred to help you
The
this year, and you
apprentices,
can
yes.
mentor us, and
Yeah.
then we can
Right.
figure out how to move
Yeah.
it forward.
And there are a couple other things that, I'm gonna get hold of the state. We've had that problem with the barrier in the stream.
That's a.
And it's a nuisance to do, and I'm not so sure it even worked.
It definitely didn't the way we did it, but maybe they have recommendations for what we can use as an
Well,
alternative.
that's what I'm gonna do,
Yeah.
okay? So,
I'm still really interested in
So,
finding a new
how many-
location for it.
How many kids did you have?
we had 54 kids. We had the same number the first year I did, it was about 54. And the second year we had 54. Now, the second year I put posters up in the school, which went to no avail apparently.
Really?
54 is a good number, though. You don't
Yeah.
want to put too many more than that at that
So-
location.
Not at that location.
No,
So I don't think it's worth the effort to put the posters back up in the school. Plus dealing with
worth a
this,
try.
yeah,
I
mean,
think
you're
social media would be probably
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
plus dealing with the school was a challenge to itself.
I know.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, that's something Diane and I could do the posters in the school.
Mhm.
Not so much the middle school, but the elementary and the.
Well, I had put it in the grammar school, in the middle school. So, anyway,
Okay.
Yeah, maybe Harry, if you just like
What's
put
the-
a
the
list
cutoff?
of like all the tasks that you did for it, and we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
figure
We'll
out how
have-
to divide.
I'll
it.
help you more.
I was
Divide and
hoping
conquer.
that, like one of you guys would step up and you could work with me now.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I
That's-
can,
Contacts and
That's conservation
get
board.
hold
if
of
they've been on.
contacts.
Lots
Uh,
of help.
So along those lines,
Yeah.
I wanted to pick your brain anyways. So I'm thinking about having an ice fishing derby this year
Yeah.
on Dara Pond. And so, I had like a question. Do the kids who come that that are parents who don't have licenses, because we are a derby, are they allowed to fish just that derby?
Okay, with the fishing derby, the parents cannot, they can bait, but they can't catch the fish.
Or cast.
That's strictly up to the,
Right, but, so you don't, the parents are not forced to get licenses for their kids?
oh,
Oh, no,
no,
that's why the age
No.
cutoff, right?
Okay,
no, they don't have
That's
to
true.
get licenses.
okay, that's fine, okay.
So a
then-
license isn't required until you're 16 anyways, correct?
Right.
Right,
Oh,
Right,
okay.
and that's our
But you
cutoff.
can't, as an individual, take 6 kids out to go fishing a stream bank if you don't have a license. They'll-
Of your own, really?
Right, yeah, because that's
Well,
our state, right. So,
okay.
but because it's a derby, I'm sure they let it go.
I mean, you could take 6 kids out to go fishing, as long as you aren't fishing,
Okay.
okay?
He's saying that they would imply that he's
I
fishing.
don't know if they would like that.
Yeah, if the kids are keeping all the
But
fish.
if the kids
But-
are keeping the fish, right, yeah, so but anyways, that's fine, as long as that's legal. So
Yeah.
as we get closer to like January, if we get good ice this year.
Now,
Well, I
if
guess
you're
that's
interested-
I think that sounds
Do
really
do we need to
cool.
do any sort of approvals to have a fishing derby? I mean, we obviously don't need it stocked or anything. We need
Okay,
ice.
Oh, you
well,
mean ice
what we
fishing?
have,
That would be nice.
yeah, the first thing we have to do is get hold of the town clerk
Mhm.
and have a discussion with her, Kimberly, and
Town
First-
administrator.
The town administrator, the
Town
clerk is Terry
administrator,
Young, and he
sorry.
wouldn't be involved in that.
the town administrator, and get her okay. And then, from that point, then I can show somebody how to, we need to apply for the permit for the fishing derby.
So the permit is through the state,
The fishing game.
With the
Fishing game?
state, yeah, with Fish and Game,
Yeah.
which is no big deal, because I have it here.
And how much is that? Is it
It's free.
free? Okay. That's a good price. It's in the budget?
So I'm assuming that we still have the budget. Okay, I'm assuming that, maybe Jason.
Well, if we're talking about two different things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about the ice fishing derby,
Right.
Oh.
and then
Okay,
your
on the ice
derby.
fishing derby, if you're really, I belong to Let's Go Fishing, which is run by the state. and they put on programs for ice fishing.
Yeah, well, so I'll be able to run it, with me and a couple other guys with all the equipment and everything like that.
Okay.
What'd you do for prizes?
What we do for prizes is, I have a contact up at Wildlife Taxidermy, they changed their name.
Okay, well, they're gone, they're going out of business.
And what they do is they give us a discount on prizes.
Okay,
Plus baits, right?
And plus,
What
I
about
buy,
bass? What about bass?
well, I know, there's a guy who runs a place in Nashua that I'm pretty good friends with that, well,
well,
I'm a client of
no,
his, so,
okay.
but you gave away some kind of merchandise,
yes,
okay,
For like the biggest and the
Yeah.
smallest and the
okay.
youngest and the,
Right.
well, well,
We can talk.
what else did you, yeah, you had a bunch of things that you gave them out for.
But I will definitely help you in the spring and whatever you need.
okay,
Mike Croto too, he's a big fisher guy.
well, I know, he helped us,
With
helped
fish.
us out.
Yep.
Yeah, because at Wildlife Taxidermy, you bought the worms, and then I bought the prizes, and he gave us a discount on that sort of stuff. After the meeting, let me get your phone number,
Sure.
George, okay?
Yep.
Now, as far as,
Paul Lemire might be a good contact for you too, George. He used to own Noel's, and he makes hooks and flies and stuff like that, and he sells them, and he has a big contact with bass.
good luck.
Oh,
Well,
he
You-
sells tip-ups, is that what you're saying?
Harry and Paul didn't get along,
Okay,
but he might be somebody who might be really interested in coming up with surprises and stuff,
George,
because he
the only-
donated
the only
rods
thing that-
and.
I mean, I think it's a great idea. But there'll be some people who have no equipment whatsoever.
oh no, I'll be providing it all,
Pardon?
I'll provide all the equipment,
All the rods?
yeah.
Well, it's apparently just
tip-ups.
tip-ups for ice fishing.
What's a tip up?
Yeah,
I've never been ice
You'll-
fishing,
you'll-
so
you'll have-
count me in, I'll be there.
You'll have to go, and so it can be an educational and a tournament, so we
I'm
can,
wicked excited.
everybody will get one hole to drill, and they'll get their tip-up to put in, and the live bait, you know, so.
Just
It's-
for ice fishing, you drill
it's
a
a-
hole, right? and It
That's-
just
And
stands
there's a-
there and
there's-
it has the hook and the,
Okay,
And
And when the
on it.
fish bites it, the flag pops up, you know,
okay.
okay.
I'm excited, I bet we have a whole
But-
new group of
So I've
people.
hijacked
sounds more
Harry's
exciting than it
thing,
is.
so I think, I've hijacked the spring fishing thing, so we'll talk more about the winter one later, but, so we should probably.
Yeah, and I can help with the winter one too.
Now, are you doing a winter one as yourself, or are you doing,
As the Conservation Commission.
oh, you are, okay, that's a question,
Yeah, no, yeah.
okay. Good,
We
good.
are doing it, I mean,
Yeah, so that's the
I didn't know
thing,
that.
cause, I mean, I know some things
Yeah,
can
I
take a
know.
while. All we need is permission from the town administrator.
Do they need a permit?
What?
Do they need a permit?
the state may.
Well, you're not releasing fish, so.
Look, Let me find out.
We would be
'Cause-
releasing them. We
No,
would keep,
no,
It'd be
no,
catch and
you-
release,
You
but
wouldn't,
we were not bringing.
you wouldn't be bringing fish in to put into
No.
the pond.
No,
oh, correct,
No.
correct. Yeah, not stocking.
It's kinda hard to squeeze them back into those holes.
So I don't know if you.
But let me
I'm
check
wicked
on,
excited.
okay,
George, let me check on the, see if we do need a permit for the ice fishing.
sure,
Yeah, you need to talk to. the
Assuming we get
administrator
ice
as far
this
as,
year.
we will.
Yeah, she likes to know what's going on.
Last year, it was so warm, nothing froze
Oh,
over.
yeah, I
Right,
barely.
it may not happen, yeah.
Okay, anything else on this, on the spring fishing derby, Harry? Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, so we're tentatively May 18th?
May 18th, that's
May
right.
18th, tentatively? Okay. Okay.
Oh, 5/18, yeah.
Okay. Old business, Darrah Pond milfoil proposal.
Okay, so I handed out everybody, I did get a quote back, from Arbor Pro, and I handed you guys, the thing, so I can go into that in a little bit more detail. So, he did have some health issues, which, he apologized for the delay in getting back to me, but he was able to write this up, so, to put this, so he broke it down into a few different areas, he does have to file paperwork, get a pull permit with the state,
Right.
and he does have to notice, send notices to all the abutters. Okay, so, that first line item is, doing, all of that work. Initially, when I first talked to him, he said he might do 3 treatments of the pond. After I sent him that depth map, he said that it's deep enough, that he can do it in 2 treatments. So, when you apply the pesticide that kills, or the herbicide that, it's not pesticide, herbicide that, kills the milfoil, if those, the plants start to decay, and that takes oxygen out of the water, and so you can't, if you were to do the whole pond at once, you'd have a fish kill.
Suffocate it,
It
okay.
would suffocate, right, so,
Okay.
like, he'll do half the pond, the fish will be able to move into the deeper water and the other side of the lake, and I don't know the exact timings between the 2 of them, but he'll come back and do a second one. All right, so instead of doing 3, like I said in the previous meeting, he's only gonna do 2. He doesn't do the sampling, he hires out to another company that will come in and do the sampling, and that's required to send to the state for a before and after.
The dissolved oxygen state.
I don't know exactly what it is, but whatever is required by the state, he's going to,
Okay.
he has to do samples before and afterwards
Okay.
to the state. And then he suggested we do this 5th thing, which is called muck away. Basically, he drops some helpful bacteria, they're in pellets, and you just treat the area in front of the beach. So what it does is that bacteria will eat the dead leaves and stuff like that, so it'll clean out the muck in the beach area. So
Wow.
my goal is to like turn this back into the swimming pool that it used to be, right?
Oh,
Imagine if we got all the weeds out of there and we had a dock,
That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so cool.
like a Camp Sargent or Camp
Yeah,
Natticook
yeah.
over at Natticook Lake in Merrimack,
That'd be great.
Wasserman Park,
Yeah.
right?
That'd be amazing.
So they have swimming over there, and Natticook Lake isn't too much bigger than that pond. And like I said in the previous meeting, my son used to swim in that, 20 years ago or something like that. We used to take him down there, the
Yeah.
beach was fine. So I think the water is good, we just need to make it a little bit more usable.
What is the herbicide that he's using though? We need to know that.
It's rodeo.
That's the new stuff, right?
No, that's not,
It's not the new stuff?
Procel is.
But, so, I asked him about that, and he says this is what is recommended by the state, and he uses what they, he can't use anything that isn't recommended by the
Right.
state.
What about, did he know about that new product? Because the new product is supposed to last for like 2 to 5 years.
Procelicor, like that.
I don't know, so, he was the expert, and I just trusted his opinion,
Yeah.
because, he does this for his living.
Where, has he worked any other ponds in New Hampshire? Do
A
you
ton
know?
of them, would you like a list? So, he did a
Yeah.
bunch in Manchester, he's done a large number.
Yeah, see if you can get a couple local ones.
George,
Okay.
does he take care of the communication between the fish and game? Or do we have to do that, to notify them of that?
So
No,
he does everything with the state.
Okay,
So, there will be a 48-hour, no swimming,
Yeah.
whatever, after the
And
application.
he posts, Ira gives
Right.
us stuff he posts.
Yeah, and
okay.
the muck away, there's no, you can use it right afterwards, so there's no delay when he puts down the tablets for getting rid of the muck.
So all the milfoil just evaporates into the,
No,
Well,
it disintegrates.
It dies and decomposes.
okay. And this muck away might help that
The
as
muck
well?
away will help with, if there's any leaves or real,
Debris.
debris,
Small.
and it's only gonna be applied in the swimming area.
Okay.
Now,
So-
the other thing is cost. Jason and I talked about, money warrant articles had to be in December 1st, so we obviously didn't make that. And they're trying to keep warrant articles down. They're trying to do less warrant articles. So our only other option would be to take it out of the land conservation money. Because of course we do not have $10,000 line item in our budget. They left us about 1,000 for no.
And rec has nothing in their budget to help us? Because this is actually rec property.
Well, I mentioned that when Kevin was here, and Kevin said, no, it's conservation should be cleaning up for recreation. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, That's in the minutes. So,
And I also asked about, could he give me a quote for next year? And he said he was hesitant to do that because who knows, we may not need one at all. And it would be a lot less than this, but he would have to see how much it would.
Is there a way you can get a comparison to that other product to this? Is there,
well, he probably.
from another,
So,
I
okay.
hate to do
There-
that to you, because this looks
Okay.
really good, and
So-
I want it to go away.
Okay, let me just tell you, there are 3 companies in New Hampshire that are licensed to do this. I
Okay,
contacted all of them.
okay.
Solitude, I did speak with somebody, and
Hey.
and he said he would get back to me, he never got back to me.
Okay.
I called him multiple times and emailed him, so Black Hole, I don't think we're big enough, for him.
Yep,
There's another one, hold on, let me see what the name of it is. That was, so that was Solitude. There's another one called SWCA Environmental, and they're a multi-state company as well. And she said, we're not big enough, and we won't do it because she has limited resources in the state and they only do big projects. So we are now at number 3.
because my cousin does this, but he's in Ohio, which is how we found out about that product,
Well,
though.
Right.
the
'Cause
other
he
guys
just-
that are trying to get licensed suggested that product too.
Well,
Probably
yeah.
can go online and check it out.
So,
But we
I-
can't, if we can't get anybody to do it, then it doesn't matter how
Yeah, I
great it
mean,
is.
I don't like going to someone and saying, I know nothing about this, but you need to use this.
Oh, no, I
no,
wouldn't,
we
I would
wouldn't-
never
we wouldn't do
say
that.
that, I
No,
would
but you know what I'm
ask.
saying.
Yeah,
So-
I would ask him why he's not using it or what he thinks of it. Can you just ask him
Just to
that?
get his opinion
so-
on
His,
it, say we
his
heard it.
professional opinion, because if he's not using it, there's probably a reason.
Right,
It
so
might be expensive too.
what is
It is expensive.
the name?
I can get it for you tomorrow.
Okay,
Something Procella Club, or
Do I
So-
have
I'll
it?
email you tomorrow.
there might have, okay, it could be that, there are 2 different types of milfoil. One is the Eurasian one, which is the invasive, species, and because that's foreign, you treat it one way. But this, we have native milfoil, we don't have the invasive species.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so
it's pretty
it's a different ballgame.
Okay.
And so it may, I'm not saying this is true, but this chemical you were talking about may.
Might not be approved for
Well,
native.
the guys I talked to that used to work when they worked for Solitude, before it was called something else before Solitude.
Yep.
They're the ones that suggested Procella
And then I got the same thing from my cousin.
So, we could also ask the state about that. Did you talk to somebody at the state?
I talked, yes, so that was when I first started to see if I could do the application myself, right? And they gave me the list of all of these people, so, like I said, I can ask him.
I just would like to, if it will cover us for more years for a similar price, then
Yeah,
it
so
might
he's-
be worth looking into, and if it won't, or if it's for a different, I hate to put you to more work, and that's
It's-
not my
it's-
intention.
It's just another phone call, so,
Yeah,
he seemed pretty confident that.
this was the way to go.
This, yeah.
Okay.
But, I can ask him if he is.
Just, yeah.
Is there any sort of a guarantee for the initial release of this stuff?
I didn't ask him for a guarantee.
Yeah, because he's talking about coming back for a year too, but I mean,
Well,
is it?
most of them.
He seemed pretty he's a pretty down to earth kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's not a sniper in the army, but like a sharpshooter in the army. He's a down
He knows
to
what
earth-
he's doing.
He just.
This is the
there's
way
no
I do it,
BS.
this is what I do, this is how I do
Right,
it.
So, he seemed to know what he was talking about. But I will definitely ask him if he knows about this other one, doesn't use it. why not.
And then if you just shoot me an email, I mean, I'm all for this.
Well, I'll keep you all posted.
Yeah.
Well, there's really no rush for us to make a motion this time, because he can't do anything until spring anyway.
Correct.
So let's keep it on for January.
Sure.
Yeah, and well, I guess as far as getting on his rotation and stuff, is there a certain time that we need to get back to him by, or?
Right,
Probably
and,
sooner
That's a
than
good
that.
question.
and if I do get, so this was just the initial quote. who does the quote get written to? Like, is it the town of Litchfield? Is it the Conservation Commission, you know? Who do I have?
We have to find out, well, if we're taking it out of it's over the $5,000 mark, so I don't know if we have to get that approved or if we're taking it out of our money.
We went to the selectmen with the tractor. So I'd
Okay,
assume we'd just
probably
bring
have
it to
to
the
do-
selectmen and say, we've got this quote, and the quote would be made out to us. We would bring it to the selectmen and get it approved.
Okay,
Does that sound right, John?
Yeah.
so I'll
So
change the
don't
name
have
to
go
the
after
Litchfield
a
Conservation
warrant
Commission.
article.
I would love to go after a Warren article, but it's too late.
And we wanna do something this spring with that pond, because it's only getting worse.
It's only getting
Right.
worse, it's gotta be done.
Right, and so, say we have this ice fishing derby and people catch a lot of fish, that could renew interest in the pond as well.
Yeah,
I think that if we're able to restore that pond, I think that there'll be a lot of people interested in it.
Yeah, it's a nice little spot.
Oh, it is. When I first moved here, we used to swim there,
Yeah, we did as well.
yeah?
okay, on to property checks and property maintenance. I like those emails that we get when you just send it in and
Mhm.
what's been happening. And George has done a lot of work on the equipment.
Thank you, George.
That was interesting, that chainsaw with the fishing line.
So do you want me to go through my?
Sure,
my
go ahead.
actions?
Yeah,
So, I installed the trash can at Moore's Falls.
and people are using it
Yes, they are using it, which is
with
good.
dog trash bags.
I sent you guys the email, I mapped Darrow Pond with sonar, right, so we now have a depth map of Darrow Pond.
That was cool.
We should maybe put that somewhere publicly.
Yeah.
On our conservation page, maybe? Is there a way you can link it to our conservation page
Yeah.
on Facebook?
Good idea. Oh, we have a conservation Facebook page?
Yeah,
But nobody knows it, so.
yeah, we do.
Okay, all right, I'll do that.
Okay, I'll
Uh,
invite you to it.
So I installed a new carburetor on the steel trimmer. I trimmed some bittersweet at the muster field with the new trimmer, and then
That's
I.
great. Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, it looks really
Must
good.
have-
Okay, oh, I took, well, so, I also went up into the back muster fields and did some trimming there.
That I didn't see.
And so I cleaned out the carb and adjusted the valves on the four-wheeler so that the four-wheeler runs really good right now. And then, yeah, I did take that big section of bittersweet across from the town hall.
Yeah,
Oh, that was amazing.
it's noticeable.
Nice job.
So, and then I did Moore's Falls Trail Monday, so that looked good. There was only like 3 or 4 pieces of trash. And then I checked out the 2 chainsaws, so one was working good without me doing much to it, and then I fixed that other one, was that this morning? Yes, this morning, I fixed that one, so,
And then you also showed up with Fred at the garden.
oh yeah, helped.
And Fred cleaned up the garden, a couple of things. We'd had a complaint, an anonymous complaint, about seeing the water tank that is still there.
Yeah,
And Steve Normanton said that he would move it. I called him again, and he did say he would move it, but I'm wondering if we shouldn't just put it in the back of the garden.
Yeah.
People wouldn't see it. We also had Tall Vine Vineyards offered to donate a tank that I'm not even sure we can use. I want to show it to you guys and see if it's something we want or can use. I'm looking for the email that I got from him. I'll forward that to everybody.
Would Normanton just want us to move the tank over to move it for him?
I bet he'd love that. He's in Rhode Island quite a bit. I don't think he's around here much at all.
where do you put it?
Just put it back.
Just take it to his, the farm area if he tells us where he wants us to
I
put
don't
it.
want to, yeah, I
Yeah,
like,
we could do that.
he's been great about filling it up for us and stuff,
Yeah.
so I don't want to be rude to him. I want to be, as respectful as
just
Oh,
possible.
I
stay-
thought you meant move it on the.
So
on the
we
garden
could
side.
either move it,
I think we
in
could
the
probably
back
move
of
it to the
garden,
back of the garden, and then
or if he
it
wants it
wouldn't
on
be as
his
accessible.
property, if he
That's
just
what I
tells
wanted
us
to
where.
do to start
where
with,
he
just
I think
to
that's what we should do.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we should do.
Okay.
All right, let's do that.
So I'll help somebody when, if you wanna spend a couple hours, George and I will do that.
Appreciate you
Put
guys
it on,
a
I
lot.
already have a hitch and he has a hitch.
Yeah, we all have hitches,
We all
we have a
have
tractor,
hitches.
I'm sure we can figure it out.
We'll
Guys
get
are the
it
best.
done-
We could probably just take
Get
2
it
of
done
us and
before
drive.
snow though, you know.
True.
Yeah, it gives them before snow.
So, I mean, I could do it tomorrow morning if you wanted to.
That'd be awesome.
I love having these retired guys.
And their wives love it that they have someplace to go. I'm
So-
sorry.
So Fred, if you're
I
around tomorrow,
can't tomorrow morning, no, but,
you can't, is that what you said?
no.
All right, it's not a real rush.
This weekend.
No,
I
it's
could
not a
do it
rush.
sometime.
Anonymous complaints really aren't
A rush,
a rush.
especially that one.
But we all showed up there and we looked and we all agreed that that garden looks amazing. It looks
Yeah,
better than
I
it did.
didn't
It
have any
didn't,
problem with it.
yeah, it looks really, really
Are they gonna keep
good.
the fences up? 'Cause how they
Yes,
plow?
those are,
How will
those,
they plow next year?
they have a rototillers
Oh.
that they're using. They left them in really nice shape. We have one garden, that I spoke to the person that was gardening that, and she's gonna come back and just get rid of, you know, what she didn't take. And we have 4 people, so that was Jay's challenge to me this year, was to get one person to grow 1 pumpkin. Woo, overachiever. We had 4, but we really need more new blood in there because there's a lot more
My
projects.
husband's interested.
Yeah, I think I've got a couple of.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
Because we
really
have no son.
wonderful. We have a woman and her husband who have done a really good job with their fencing and everything, that would be glad to kind of, and she's putting in benches and everything, and yeah, so we still have a lot more coming. I'm waiting for the swing set to come in, and then that brings to mind, if we're gonna put a swing set in there, we need to have something under it for the kids to use. It's gonna be primitive, just a couple of swings, no slide, just a couple of swings, something primitive looking. So, but we're gonna have to put something there in case the kids fall. Our town insurance covers it. I know the person that's making it is the Chick Woodworking. It's
Okay,
gonna
good.
make it for us. And then Fred, you were talking about putting a coda.
Yeah, I was waiting, because
Jay said he was
Jason
gonna do
said he
it.
was gonna do
Yeah, Jay always has so much to do
it.
that.
Yeah.
So maybe we just tell Jay
If
you're
you
gonna
don't,
do it.
I
Is it
got a
too cold
gallon
now?
of stain I'll donate, but
What's the temperature that we would have to do that
it's
at?
gotta be warmer than it is.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah,
wait for
could we,
Shannon.
could we
Should be
do it in
about
the, I mean, we have the old fire station we can use too.
Oh, that's a good
Put
idea.
tops down or something.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
And do them in there? Could we even store them in there to keep them from,
Well, I mean, it might be a little tight because we have all our equipment, but I mean, we don't need our equipment that much, so if we shift some, I mean, actually, we can put them right on the trailer and do it right on the trailer.
Yeah, that'd be good.
wow. We've turned into this board that really does stuff, huh? All right, that would be awesome. All right.
I have something under member input, if they're doing with property checks. I was watching, Grow Green on WMUR, they
Mhm.
talked about bittersweet. So the guy was there and talking to the WMUR guy, chop it down in the fall, and then get close to the roots, and then, paint it with the herbicide.
Roundup.
She didn't want to say it. No, Joe can't say that word.
We can say it.
I could say it.
Yeah, that's
You paint
different
it,
than,
get cancer.
that's different than the advice we
Rodeo.
got from the folks
State.
that came in. They said the best time to cut it down is,
In
mid to
June.
late June, because
June.
then
June.
all the sugars are
Yeah, that makes sense.
out of the roots, because if you do it in the fall, then it's still gonna try to grow. Although it's a lot easier to maintain little shoots coming off rather than,
But in the fall, you would think it would be starting to go dormant. Well, I don't know if it ever goes dormant.
yeah, it goes
Well, it's going to
dormant, but
seed.
all the
But
sugars
sugars
in the roots, it'll try to grow again.
Oh.
But again, it's not gonna grow in immediately a 3-inch stalk, right? It'll be
No.
something that we
So
can trim.
June,
Yeah.
and then paint it with.
But I'm all for whenever we see bittersweet, just to cut it down, no matter what time of year it
Yeah.
is.
I had one more question that I wanted to ask. So when I was walking out to the mustard field, the trail out to the backfield is surrounded by, what's that, burning bush.
Oh,
Which is also
yeah.
used. So,
Yep.
I don't know if we should have an attempt to pull that or cut it back or.
My daughter said the roots are like a web underneath of the burning bush, and she cut mine, put rocks on it, and it came up around the rocks. Stuff is horrible.
Yeah, so I pulled some small ones out of my yard, so I've seen it migrate in my yard. So we could give it a try
Give it a try,
anyways.
Cut
But
it.
that might be an area, since it is invasive and we're conservation, if we get rid of it there. I mean, it looks nice in the fall, but
But it's-
that
it's-
whole
it's
side of the
bad.
hill is full of
Full of it now.
burning bush.
On the side towards the road?
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
one of the invasives I didn't fall for at Home Depot, but I do have pear trees.
well, I have burning bush in my front yard, I mean, in the
Yeah,
80s
people-
we all
and
bought
90s,
it.
everybody put it in.
We all
Big
bought it.
ornamental in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Anything else? What about member input? Anybody else?
Harry, did you have another
Well,
idea for a presentation?
I was, with that thing that we had in the fall, I thought it was a success, and the thing that crossed my mind is we can have them back again, and there was several categories. I unfortunately left them at home, but one of them had to do with actually planting and maintaining vegetables. What do you think? Do you think that would be something that
I like it.
people would be interested in?
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, let me
Promote
work.
the heck out of it on the garden page. We have a garden
Okay.
page too, George.
And the other thing that I happen to think of too, is, let me look in the list about pruning, because people like to start pruning like in February and March. So let me see if there's anything in that category.
That's another thing
That's
that I've started.
Apple trees and-
Yeah, that would be a whole
Yeah.
separate category.
The blueberry bushes should be
So,
February.
let me look at that. And the other thing is, I get a newsletter from Fish and Game, and they keep advertising grants and other programs about outdoor stuff that I would think, and this is only me, that maybe we could interface with the school and maybe get something going with the kids.
I'm hoping to get them in the garden.
Well, other than the garden.
Yeah, no, but I'd like to get them in the
Yeah,
garden.
no, I know,
Yeah.
but,
Where else were you thinking?
just, awareness of identification of trees, identification of wildlife,
So trail walk type things?
pardon,
Trail walks?
trail, I don't know what's involved, exactly, but they have all kinds of information that they're willing to share, so I was gonna go look at that, and, one more thing, I had talked to Jason, the DeRocha property, I mean, let's face it, we're, well, yeah, just hear me out,
No, I won't. We're done with that topic right now.
we got shut down.
No, we're
You're in the
not-
wrong format for that. You're in the wrong place for that
Non-public.
right now.
It's public.
Well,
We're in public.
No, I wasn't talking
Okay,
about,
can we talk about it in later?
okay,
Thank you.
it has nothing to do with what you're talking about.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Fred, do you have anything?
No.
Okay, if there's no more public input, how about we approve the November 2nd minutes?
I read them and they looked good to me.
I read them.
Yep.
Okay, somebody make a motion to approve the.
Make a motion that we
I'll
approve.
second it.
Diane and Harry make a motion to approve the November 2nd minutes. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? No. Okay, 6-0. Today's the 7th. Okay, next meeting is January, I think it's January 4th. Yes, January 4th. 2024.
Wow,
I know, time flies.
does, isn't it?
Okay, anybody, is there any more public input? That, no? Since we have one public? No public. Okay.
We're looking for alternate. Doesn't it look like it's a fun place to be?
Yeah,
Welcome anytime.
I like this room better than the other one.
Yeah, for the way.
It's kind of more comfortable,
Yeah.
right?
Hearing no other input, we can go into non-public if someone would make a motion.
I make a motion that we go into non-public
Uh,
per RSA 91-3
A-A3
A3
D.
D, yep.
I
consideration.
second it.
And
Fred,
we have
second?
seconds, okay, roll call vote, Fred?
I second,
Yeah.
yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Yes.
Diane, yes?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. Fine.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay,
Thank
we're
you
going
very
into
much.
non-public at 7:50.